Okay, everybody, welcome to the latest episode of All2ReelToo. My name is Michael E. Combs II, and with me here as always is...
I didn't realize we're still doing this. Okay, my name is Matthew Falcon House.
Alrighty.
Yeah.
Alright. Okay, anyway, so I'm done. I'm done doing any accents for the rest of the episode until I do it again. Yeah. Anyway, so today on the show we are covering the third episode of the Disney Plus series, The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. This episode, which was entitled Power Broker, which is episode 3, and it was directed by Carrie Skoglund, written by Derek Colston, Malcolm Spellman, with others, but whatever. Derek Kolstad, I can't talk right now today, is known as the creator of the John Wick series. Which was very, very obvious in this episode. You could tell that it was written by the same guy who wrote the John Wick, who was wicking it up. Anyways, so
not a Wiccan, like not a practicing Wiccan, but like
no. Or not Wiccan, not Wiccan or Speed.
Yeah, exactly. I was gonna say that. Yeah, WandaVision's over, so
yeah, no Wiccans here, no Wiccans. But at least not in this episode. So first off, I just wanted to ask you, Matt, what was your initial thoughts on this?
I loved it, actually. I mean, I liked all the episodes so far, but this one was a lot more. Probably my favorite episode so far. A lot of action, action packed, but also a lot of story. Really cool visuals. They go to a new city. It's like nighttime, lots of lights. Nightclub stuff. Very. I just liked it,
Yeah,
nothing to say. I just liked it,
I just liked it, people. I liked it. Anyways, Mikey likes it. I liked it too. I thought it was probably my favorite so far. So I asked in our podcast group on Facebook what people are thinking of the show so far. Kermit Merle Key says, it's expanding and building an in-depth MCU post-blip, and I love it. Mark McRae, he says, I wasn't crazy about the first episode, but episode number 2 blew me away, and now I'm on board. So, yeah, it's kind of how I feel, too. I mean, episode 1 was good, but I don't know. And this one was probably my favorite, but I do have... The only issues I have with it is I think they're... In this episode, they kind of got away from one of the key points of the show that I've liked so far. But you can't have it focused on every episode where it comes to the whole racial aspect of it, which I think is kind of interesting.
Right.
But that it is what it is. It's you can't have that in every episode, but you do have a few key things here and there where things like that. And I mean, and my main thing is I really love Zemo, so. I think Daniel Brühl is just brilliant in his subtlety as a villain. He's so, I don't know. He's just creepy, but funny, and it's I like it a lot. So
you talking the character Zemo?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Yeah, Zemo.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, about the racial aspect too. I mean, like, also too. I mean, like, even sometimes people of color, which I always find that to be a weird phrase because it kind of reminds me of colored people, which is like, it's like, not a phrase I like, but like, whatever, that's what people use now, so whatever. But like, a lot of people, like, I can't talk right now. People like that, like, don't always want to talk about race either, though. You know what I mean? So,
no, I understand that. What I'm just saying is I don't think that I think they got away from that focus in this episode, but it wasn't like it needed to be in this episode. Is all I'm saying. It's just like I just think that this episode was more action oriented. Yeah, but I think there is an underlying, societal and racial tension, that's inspired by real world events that is part of this episode as well. So
they kind of touch upon in a few subtle ways.
Yeah. So what happened in this episode here, Matt?
Well, it kind of picks up right where it left off. They do like the recap, and then they start off with like this like propaganda video about the repatriation service. I forgot the name.
The Global Repatriation Council, the GRC.
Yeah, the GRC, and it's like this whole, this like nice, kind propaganda video with like soothing music playing. Like we're bringing people back to their homes and their jobs, and we're they show like like a Muslim woman, they show like all these other people, and we're gonna get back to the way things were. Literally right after that commercial, a van pulls up that says GRC, and the new Captain America and Battlestar just come rushing out, and like the new quote Cap is like basically like saying like, don't give them any time to delete their files or even breathe. We're gonna just storm this place essentially, and just really aggressive. He's really showing his true colors here. Like he's very aggressive. He's very very mean spirited. Because they're going to that place where the German dude was housing the Flag Smashers in the last episode.
Yeah,
and he's basically just asking where they went next, and the guy's not talking, and he spits in John Walker's face, and John Walker pushes him and he goes, "Do you know who I am?" So already we have,
yeah, and he finally speaks in English at that point, and he says, "I do know who you are, and I don't care."
Right? Yeah, exactly.
So yeah,
so totally different opposite personality than Steve. Steve did not see that. That's again, it's one of those that whole axiom or whatever you say it. Where like the person who wants to be a leader shouldn't, and the person who doesn't want to be a leader should be the leader, type of thing.
Trump. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. That's exactly what it was. Steve did not want to be a symbol, but then he became a symbol because he was a humble person. This John Walker guy does everything for show. He does everything Steve does, but just to mimic him. He's almost like a robot. He's like a machine. Like, oh, Steve jumped on a grenade. I jumped on a grenade 4 times, but it's like, but I had this helmet that protected me from dying. It's like, yeah, but Steve was just wearing a T-shirt when he did it, and
yeah, he's more of a, I don't know, fake symbol as opposed to like basically he might tick all the boxes on the thing, but he's doing it in the wrong way.
Yeah, it's literally just like for show. And plus, this guy is a total fascist. I can tell. I mean, like he's gonna be. We're gonna see more of him, I'm sure.
I do want to address something though that I've seen online. Wyatt Russell, who plays the character, has been getting death threats. God. That tells you how good he plays the role, but it also tells you how delusional people are.
I know.
He's a fucking character on a TV show. Wyatt Russell isn't really John Walker. You know what I mean? It's just don't... I hope nobody listening to this is threatening, Wyatt Russell's life, because that's just stupid. I mean, I'm sorry, you gotta be able to separate the actor from the character. Sure, I don't know, like, sure, Anthony Hopkins played Hannibal Lecter really well, but that doesn't mean he is Hannibal Lecter in real life. It's just, you gotta realize that actors are actors and not the characters that they play.
And plus, too, his character so far hasn't really even done a lot, that bad of... he's roughed up. It's not like he's playing a serial killer who's, murdering people. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, and even then, it's a show or a movie. It's not.
Yeah, I just find it funny that, it's both good and bad that people get so immersed into television or movies, but you got to realize that this isn't reality. It's like Brent Spiner isn't really an android. He just played one on Star Trek. I'm just saying that people are actors. They're actually humans.
I'm be honest though. I'm pretty sure some of these are bots.
Yeah.
But then also there's, not to get too political, but even though the show is inherently political, which I know people are pissed off. Oh no, my comic books, politics. Okay, it is. But there's. We talked about this both on the show and in private that there is it's a minority, but it's a pretty big minority of people in this country that are very mentally and emotionally unstable. I'm not saying that as to be a jerk, like mental health. Like, no, like clinically, if they were to see a doctor, they would be diagnosed with at least one or multiple mental illnesses and emotional illnesses. And internet just gives them the outlet to vent their rage about alleged, satanic child molesters that are all happen to be members of one political party and not the other, which is convenient. Anyway, or they send death threats to actors or TikTokers or YouTubers or stalk them and dox them. Yeah. So don't do it.
Yeah, just. I don't think anybody listening here is doing this, but just want to say, don't threaten actors' lives.
No.
Wyatt Russell is just playing a role in a TV show. He's not. Yeah. He's not really John Walker. So there you go.
When people threatening, I forgot his name, but the guy who played Thanos.
Maybe somewhere. Who knows? Some people might have been, threatening Josh Brolin, but I don't know. It's just.
His character, literally, killed half the universe. So,
Yeah. So, anyways, back to the plot of the show. So we've got So he gets spit in the face by this guy, and where do we go from there? We go to the prison where Bucky has orchestrated a prison riot to help Zemo escape. Interesting thing, when he visits him in a very, speaking of Silence of the Lambs, a very Silence of the Lambs sort of scene where they're between glass, and it's kind of a mimic of the whole thing where the Winter Soldier was behind glass in Civil War and other, and Zemo was controlling him. Now it's kind of flipped. And but Zemo is reading a book by Machiavelli. And Machiavelli is a guy who is known for the whole idea of the Machiavellian, type of aspect where, it's basically like by any means necessary sort of thing, get things done, you know what I mean? And there's also the he basically doesn't believe that people have like a conscience.
Mm-hmm.
And also, Machiavelli did fake his own death.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that has anything to do with this, but it's just interesting little side notes here.
Basically, right? He's kind of like a person that just talks about like how to rule without people knowing that you're ruling them, and very conspiratorial stuff like that. Yeah, like, and I never read it, but I've heard about it.
Yeah, I mean the basic idea of Machiavellianism is in psychology refers to a personality trait which sees a person so focused on their own interests that they will manipulate, deceive, and exploit others to achieve their goals.
So narcissism, basically.
In a way, yeah. Very much, yeah. So, yeah, that's what it says on the internet. On some UK therapy website I just pulled up really quick. So, yeah. So, anyways, he's reading that, but they do a whole they orchestrate a prison riot to distract the guards and everything so Zemo can escape. I should say Bucky does this. He orchestrates this whole thing. And then they have the scene where it's kind of a, I don't know, Ocean's 11 sort of type of thing where you're explaining your plan and you're seeing the plan happen at the same time that it's being explained.
Yeah.
And then we realize that it's already happened. And Zemo's already out. This is while Bucky is talking to Sam and telling him what the plan is.
Very Ocean's 11. I mean, that's literally what happens in Ocean's 11.
Yeah.
The whole thing, yeah.
And so we end up having the thing happen, and then Zemo comes out of nowhere, and of course Sam is pissed. He's like, why the fuck, you're letting this guy out, sort of thing,
Right.
What happens after that? What happens there, Matt?
He gets his mask out of the car. All these cars are his.
Oh, they go to after this. They end up going to this place with a bunch of cars.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah. He gets his mask. His purple mask that he wears in the comic books and stuff, and he they go on like a private airplane, and they're like, "Oh, you've always been rich," and he explains that he's actually technically a baron, and that his family has been royalty for probably hundreds of years at this point before Sokovia was destroyed. Was it Sokovia that he was from, or was it from a different?
Yeah, he was from Sokovia.
Yeah, Sokovian, and that's what really set him off in the first place, is because his family was killed, and a bunch of his friends too. And during the whole Ultron thing.
His butler named Osnick is played by Nicholas Pryor, who starred in the movie The Falcon and the Snowman.
Oh, wow.
Just a little.
That's cool.
Which was a spy movie.
Wow. That's very interesting. And plus, this episode's kind of like a spy episode.
Yeah.
Kind of. Okay, that's... Yeah,
he was one of the stars of The Falcon and the Snowman. I saw him and I was like, wait, that's Nicholas Pryor. I know him best, which is weird, just because I used to watch soap operas. He played this character on both General Hospital and Port Charles back in the day. He played Victor Collins, who was the dad of this psychiatrist on there and stuff. Anyways, he ran a bar. He worked at a bar sometimes, and it was called the Recovery Room because it was near a hospital. But anyways, yeah.
I used to hate soaps, but now I love them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't watch them anymore. I used to all the time, but I haven't watched them in years. Regularly, that is. I used to I used to watch General Hospital all the time. It was my favorite, and I'll watch it now from time to time. It's easy to catch up on things. You know, you just basically got to watch a few episodes and you realize, okay, that guy's that guy and that guy's this guy, and then okay,
Right.
yeah. Especially when they recast people too, and you're just like, oh wait,
Yeah.
yeah.
And that guy was dead, but now he's back to life. And,
Yeah.
You know,
Oh, he's his twin.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what?
So yeah,
What's going on here? They're on this plane.
yeah, they're on the plane, and the butler, you know, he apologizes for the champagne maybe being a little bit warm, and he says, you know, he'll try to find, you know, some good food for him. You know, the fridge has been out, and Zemo speaks in his language. It says if it doesn't pass the smell test, you can just give it to them. You know,
Yeah.
They kind of laugh at each other, you know, with each other. You know, like, you know, we're speaking our language. You don't understand what we're saying, you know, type of thing. And you know, Zemo is just doing his thing where he's trying to pick at them, but you know, very subtly, and just kind of his sort of Machiavellian way, you know, trying to, you know, get under their skin a little bit, you know, like he's got Bucky's, you know, list that he's got.
Yeah, he took his book, his little notebook with the list in it.
Yeah, he's like, who's this Naki? Was it Nakijima or?
Yeah, the old guy, the old Asian guy from the first episode.
And Bucky, like, you know, seizes him, like, don't ever mention him again, I'll kill you, you know, type of thing.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, sorry, you know, type of thing. And, you know, Sam's like, oh, yeah, I know that list. You know, Steve had one of those after he got out of the ice.
Yeah, it is the same book, so...
Oh, it's the same exact book?
Yeah,
oh,
we find out right there that basically Steve gave him that book.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Or his own stuff in
Because
it.
then he mentions, he's like, have you listened to the Trouble Man soundtrack?
Oh, I see. Okay, yeah, I got you. All right.
Yeah.
I thought he meant, like, Steve had a list like that. Okay,
Yeah, no.
I didn't know exactly.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Then it kind of makes it even a little bit more like, you know, like a symbolic or just kind of like a.
Yeah, he's using that book as his "My Name Is Earl" list as well. So it's like, yeah.
And yeah, and they go into this whole thing, and so speaking of the whole racial aspect, this actually does happen here, where like basically Zemo is like talking about like the African American experience, right? As he's sitting.
Yeah, he's talking about how great Trouble Man was, and
it Sam's like, he's out of line, but he's also right.
Yeah, that was funny.
Like, he shouldn't be the one saying it, but technically he's correct. You know?
Yeah.
Which, you know, I thought that was kind of funny, you know. And and then you know, Bucky or James, right? Is his name James?
Yeah, but he goes by Bucky, so yeah.
Okay, so Bucky's like saying, you know, he likes 40s music. You know, again, he comes from the same era that Steve did, and
yeah.
The difference is, though, is that Bucky really hasn't had the same amount of time to adapt, because he's basically been programmed by Hydra, and then, like, really the only time he had to himself was basically when he was in Wakanda.
Yeah,
that was probably it, and that was like what, maybe a few months, a year at most. And,
yeah,
but he pretty much lived like secluded during that time, so he didn't exactly have, you know, the ability to kind of, you know what I mean, like just cultural stuff, because pretty much just lived by himself. And yeah, you know, the kids would be around, you know, talking to him and stuff, but he didn't really interact with the outside world, you know, because at that point Wakanda was still like shut off from the rest of the world, because they didn't want to share like their wealth, you know, with it, because they didn't want the whole world, basically, not the whole world, they didn't want the white part of the world colonizing Wakanda, you know?
Yeah, they didn't want to be colonizing it, and they also didn't want their technology and things to be taken advantage of, in a way, you know, basically, because I mean, it's very I think it's very symbolic of the whole idea where the whole like rubber tree and other and like diamond industries that basically took over a lot of land in Africa and other places around the world through colonization and things of that nature, where they, you know, a lot of basically through industrial colonization in a lot of ways, where they would basically take over countries, and like even like the whole Banana Republic sort of thing, where it's you're basically just saying, oh, we'll make things better, the white man will make things better, but no, or the English man will make things better, or the American man will make things better.
Or the Belgian man, or
or whatever.
Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
if you see that list where it's like all the colonies in Africa based by country during like a certain period of time, and like Britain has like almost all of it, but then there's like little patches of like Belgium,
France, and
France, Germany, Spain, Portugal, Russia, not Russia so much, but yeah. So that was a weird tangent, but basically, Wakanda wanted to be shut off from the rest of the world because of all that stuff, and Bucky pretty much only lived there for like, I don't know, a year maybe at the most, and
because so he basically what ends up happening, like they didn't want the world to take them over and take advantage of them, so more or less is what I was saying. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But yeah, he only lived there for like a year, like you were saying. And then what? Sorry.
And then what? Oh yeah. Then, no, it's fine. He was basically saying that he likes 40s music, because he listened to Marvin Gaye. He liked the album, but it didn't like blow him away, like it did for Steve or whatever. And then Zemo was like, "Oh, you seem to really look up to Steve." He's just trying to find like a wedge.
Yeah, he's trying to push his buttons.
Then he goes into his whole thing about like, see, that's the problem. People like Steve. Is that and Sam got really mad at him. He's like, watch your mouth or whatever. And he's like, well, I'm just saying. That's the problem with superheroes, is that they become a symbol, they become an icon. Nobody speaks about their flaws, and movements are made. Countries fly. People die of countries fly. He's talking about Sokovia.
Yeah. He's not wrong at all. Really. He's not wrong at all.
He's not. No. I mean, Captain America was probably the most pure of all of them, though. So, but even he had his own, issues and stuff like that. So, but like, yeah.
But even then, it's like symbols can be taken advantage of, and it's like people live under banners of swastikas or or other things, and they don't see them as bad at first, and they might not be bad at first when they first start. I'm not saying that about swastikas, but you know what I mean. I'm just saying, right. Yeah. But I mean, well, swastika. The idea of a swastika was never, that was was it a Hindu or Buddhist? What was it, Hindu symbol before?
All over the world. I mean, it was Hindu, Buddhist. Some of the Germanic pagan religions had it. I mean, it's been all over the world
before it was co-opted by the Third Reich. But the whole idea is that symbols can become bad, and so I think that's a lot of idea, like when it comes to the whole idea that yes, Captain America was a symbol, and Steve may have had his flaws, but now the Captain America symbol, it's in a way, if you look at it this way, the symbol is now resting on top of John Walker, who is not Steve, so the symbol needs to stand for something good, but it can become co-opted and corrupted.
Right, and that's the thing too. So like, even with Captain America, Steve, even though he's pure of heart, people can do bad things in his name. So if the guy is already bad to begin with, then that's going to be even more. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. Like with John, he's already an asshole to begin with.
Yeah.
So it's not going to take much imagination to become bad in his name. So Zemo basically, he's a very interesting character, and he's pretty much right about everything he says. I
mean, in a lot of ways, it's like in politics where you have you have a lot of Republicans that are not as pure in heart as Lincoln was. And not that Lincoln didn't have his flaws, but they try to put up the whole idea that, we're the party of Lincoln and that we're living by the law of Lincoln, when you're not really doing that. You're basically using that as your symbol that you basically corrupted now. Sorry, I'm getting political, but
right,
you know what I mean. It's just because I think in a lot of ways, Steve is Lincoln, and and John Walker is your George W. Bush or your Donald Trump.
Right. Yeah. Probably more like Trump, but or Trump-ish.
Yeah, in a way, somewhere in the middle, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like in between George W.
Yeah. So, what happens now? I mean, So they fly to this land. They fly to this land called Madripoor.
Yeah.
Which is it's a fictional island located in Southeast Asia, appearing in the Marvel comic books, mostly associated with stories from the X-Men series. So
that's interesting.
Yeah. Based on like illustrations, it's in the southern portion of the Strait of Malacca, between Singapore and Sumatra. So, yeah. That's where it's located in fictional geography. Yeah.
Interesting.
But it's a place that, I guess, Wolverine visits a lot, and many other, X-Men. So, they go to Madripoor, and it's basically like a criminal island. It's I don't know. It's like all like glitzy, and it looks like something out of like Blade Runner. You know what I mean? Or something like a Blade Runner meets Vegas or something, and or maybe modern day, like, I don't know, modern day Hong Kong or something, kind of a cool. It looks really cool, I think, but it's like basically like a hive of scum and villainy, as they would say in Star Wars.
Yeah, there's like really there's really no laws. I mean, like you show people like out there with like machine guns, just like hanging outside and stuff like that. And at one point, it looks like they're measuring drugs, like just right out in the open, like
Yeah, as you do.
Yes, you do. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to take a quick break here, Matt, and then talk about the rest of the plot?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, we'll be right back, folks.
What is Gen X? What is the silent generation? What do generations have in common? Hi, I'm Trish the Dish from the Gen X Voice podcast, and I invite you to listen to conversations I have with folks from different generations, backgrounds, beliefs, and experiences in an attempt to see what connects rather than divides us. Even though Gen X has been called slackers, Karens, or not mentioned at all in some cases, we are the bridge generation, so I feel compelled to do my part to destroy ageism by bringing all these voices together. And, as a bonus, each guest gets to answer some 80s questions at the end of each show. So download and listen to Gen X Voice today on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, or wherever you listen to podcasts. And let's see how much we have in common after all.
Hi, this is Catherine, host of a new fashion podcast, The Real Fashion School Dropout. Join me as I interview guests every week in the fashion and beauty space, and we gossip on all things fashion and beauty, and even get into some personal stories of their journey in the industry. You can find us on Apple, Spotify, pretty much wherever you get your podcast. Hope to see you there.
And we are back.
Yes.
So, on the island, Bucky dresses up like the Winter Soldier, gets back into his old Winter Soldier gear, and then Sam dresses up like this guy called Smiling Tiger, who is like he's a villain in the MCU, so be interesting if they have him come back in future episodes and have or future things of some sort and have Anthony Mackie play him because they look alike.
Yeah,
that'd be funny. But yeah, and it's funny that they're walking there and he's in this like flashy suit, and he says, "Why am I the only one dressed up like a pimp?"
Yeah,
and I was reading somewhere that it's kind of it's kind of interesting because in the comics, Sam may have been a pimp.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Prior to becoming Falcon, so
I mean, they didn't say it officially, but the pictures.
But he basically dressed like Huggy Bear from Starsky and Hutch. So
right.
So
which again, that was probably seen as progressive at the time, but it kind of does have some.
Yeah, it's very very
racial undertones.
Yeah.
Yeah, from the 70s. I mean, from the 70s, but still.
Yeah.
Which I much rather like this Falcon, where he's like a military man.
Yeah, it's a lot better.
Not a big fan of like the bad things the military's done, but like he's a disciplined man. That kind of thing. Like
he's a good guy. He's not.
Yeah.
Anyways, so that was another thing earlier on too, where there was a kind of almost a racial swipe at him, where Zemo on the plane said something to him about like, you know what it's like to be in jail. To Sam, speaking of racial undertones or whatever, but the thing is, he's only been in a cell. He was in a cell after the whole Civil War thing. It was never before. So
that's what I thought he meant. I thought he was talking about when I didn't pick up on that actually. Yeah, he could have been just trying to pick at him.
Yeah. But anyways, so they go to on the island on there, and they go to a bar. Smiling Tiger is Sam as Smiling Tiger is given his usual at the bar, which is a drink that is made of the innards of a snake, which was disgusting.
What did he take out exactly? What?
I think it was like eggs or something inside the snake.
Yeah, because it was like round. Yeah. Ugh. Gross.
Yeah.
And some kind of liquor or whatever. And
yeah.
Yeah. Sam's like, I love this.
Yeah. And then Bucky gets all Winter Soldiery and kicks some ass there and everything, and then they demand to see somebody named Selby. And then they go to see her, and she reveals that the somebody named the Power Broker hired former Hydra scientist Dr. Wilfred Nagel to recreate the Super Soldier Serum. Sam gets a phone call during this from his sister Sarah, and is forced to put it on speakerphone, and his identity is exposed there. And then then Selby is killed by a bullet comes and kills Selby right after that. Comes through the window, and then Zemo and Bucky and Sam escape. And it turns out that Sharon Carter is the one that shot Selby. she has been living as a fugitive on the island. Is it on that island or a different island? I'm trying to remember where she's been living.
She said she lived in Hightown, I think.
Yeah, so that was part of that island because there's Lowtown and Hightown there, and Hightown's like the more ritzier part of the, but it's still full of scum and villainy, as I like to say. So she saves them from the bounty hunters who are after them, and she brings them to Nagel's lab, which is hidden inside of like a shipping container in this like shipyard. They learn from him that he's recreated 20 doses of the serum, which Carly Morgenthau stole. What happens next, Matt?
They interrogate him some more. You know, he says that he was able to make, perfect it, not just, jacked up bodies, he wanted to make it more subtle, kind of basically to fit, each person, I guess, so it kind of like matches like each person's like unique traits or whatever, to kind of enhance, what they're already good at type of thing. And a bunch of, she gets into a bunch of fights with all these guys that are trying to, ambush the place or whatever. She kicks a lot of ass, kills a lot of people.
Very John Wicky.
Yeah, John Wicky. She kills all of them or incapacitates most of them. And then she comes inside, and then just as she's about to do, she comes inside, Zemo just shoots and kills the guy after they got all their information. They're like, no, what'd you do?
Yeah, he finds a gun underneath a counter in the lab.
Yeah. And, he kills the guy after, he told him everything he needed to know and all that, villain shit, And, then, someone shoots, like, a rocket at the, whatever it's called, the lab or whatever, so.
Yeah.
They all get out, they can't find Zemo. At first, it looks like Zemo's gonna book it, like he's just gonna leave them, abandon them, but it turns out that he's got his own rocket launcher. He took it and then shoots.
Yeah,
shoots
he steals a getaway car too.
Yeah, exactly. Because at first when I first saw it, I thought like, oh, he's gonna leave them. He's just gonna abandon them.
That's what I thought was gonna happen. I thought he was gonna, just escape and go do whatever the fuck he wants. Yeah.
Yeah. But he didn't, so apparently he's a good guy now. No, no, he still has use for them, and they're about to leave. Then, they invite Sharon, but she doesn't want to come. She says, "No, I have to stay here, or whatever." And so they drive off.
Yeah, but right before that, Sam also he agrees to secure Sharon's freedom.
Oh yeah.
So yeah.
That's right, because he promised her. That's the other thing too, because when they're at her apartment. By the way, her apartment's freaking nice.
And she has a bunch of stolen art there.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, she got a bunch of stolen art
that she replaced with fakes.
Right. So she's not like her aunt very much. She's a little bit more, let's say, morally neutral, I guess.
Yeah, and plus she's very cynical and down on the world. Because the way that it's treated her too, so like she's like a totally different character than she was in Civil War and stuff. So it's I mean she's the same character, but she's obviously had years of being beaten down and shit, So she's basically cynical and out for herself. It looks like.
Right. Well, that's 8 years past in the timeline. Past Civil War. 2016. Well, I'm not sure.
Well, even more than that, because I don't know if she was she dusted or not.
Oh, you know what? I don't know about that actually.
Because I don't know. Because technically, this is like 2023 or something.
Right, so 2016 and 2023, that's 7 years?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever it is.
Anyway.
It's been years of being treated like shit.
Yeah, exactly.
And
being
trying
on
to
the run,
hide and
not being able to talk to your family, all that shit. And so she leaves, and then she ends up like this person rolls up or whatever. I don't know if it's like an employee of hers or someone she's working with, like in tandem. Like I don't know. Don't know exactly what
she gets in the back seat of the car and is talking on the phone and says that basically we've had some issues.
Right.
To somebody.
And then somebody, and then they drive off. But also too, so we have the scene with the Flag Smashers. Though I forgot about that. So it turns out that this repatriation program is not very good because it's basically put a lot of people in refugee camps where there's not a lot of food and resources for people, and they're all crammed in there, and people are dying of easily curable diseases because there's not enough medicine to go around. But there actually is enough medicine to go around, they're just not dispatching it. It's interesting. I'm not sure I've heard that before.
Yeah, there's nothing like that happening in the real world where people are, dying because they can't get medicine or anything.
No, no, not at all. So yeah, she reveals, Carly Morgenthau reveals, that they were actually put out on the streets after the blip. So, when they say like, things were better before the blip, it's not some abstract ideological, belief. It was like a literal, tangible reality that, for whatever reason happened, they became homeless because of the blip. We don't know exactly why, but they were didn't have a home anymore, and because of this GRC or whatever they're called. So she goes to see someone named Mama Danya, who's sick. I guess she was like maybe like a mother figure to them or something.
Yeah,
we don't know exactly. And she's dying of tuberculosis, which again is an easily curable disease. I mean, almost nobody gets it anymore, at least not in the quote civilized world or whatever, the developed world. But she ends up dying from it because there's no medicine. And it turns out there actually is medicine. It's just being stored away, not being used for anyone whatsoever. And so they go and steal it, bunch of crates of it, vaccines, medicine. So with them, when they're taking the super soldier serum, they're doing it as a means to an end. They're not doing it because they want to be super powerful people or whatever.
They're trying to save people.
Yeah, that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to do it so they can lift the boxes, so they can fight if they need to, type of thing. So, they steal a bunch of stuff. Yeah, before that too, she's talking to one of the guys and saying like, what would you do if you didn't get involved in this? And she said, she probably would want to be a teacher, history or art or something. This wasn't really, the plan she had for her life, to be a revolutionary or whatever. It wasn't something that she, would have chosen for herself, on her own. Which again kind of goes to that whole thing of like, sometimes life circumstances choose you, not you choosing it, which is again kind of like, in some ways she's kind of like Steve in some ways, where it's like,
oh yeah,
it's thrust upon them as opposed to John Walker, where he's actively wanting that for himself, and well, it's so for the past 3 episodes we've been, or rather for the past 2 episodes, we've been pretty much, become sympathetic to the Flag Smashers about why they do what they do, and of course, they gotta fuck with us with that by having her blow up the building where they stole all the medicine from.
Yeah, but really, the people inside were the people. The only people really inside were the people guarding the medicine from. I mean, I'm not trying to defend murder, But the fact is, it's like the people that were in there weren't necessarily the best people.
No, they weren't. But like again, it's kind of like the whole Death Star argument again. Like, were all those people malicious, or was it just a job to them? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Were there low-level workers? Were there janitors or custodians? You know, that kind of, you know, so there's that whole argument, you know, the Death Star quandary, if you will. And then, you know, even her, you know, the guy with her was like, you know, there are still people in there, and she's like, this is the only language these people understand, which is really fucked up, because like like during my like this is like a little personal story here, but like when Trump first got elected, I literally wanted to get into a fight. Like I actively wanted to go outside and seek out Trump supporters just to get into a fist fight. Like, because I hated, I mean, like, when I say I hated, I mean, I literally hated these people. Like, it's not even like a euphemism or a joke. Like, I had like a burning hatred for these people, and like I actively wanted to get into a fight with one of them. Like, I would even go out and wear T-shirts with like political messages on it just to like entice a fight. Like, one of them literally said like "Good night, white pride," and it showed like a person like kicking like a person like on the ground with like the Pepe the Frog face or whatever, because that's become like a meme for like the right wing or whatever, or like the 4chan right wing. And then another T-shirt said, "Oh, you believe in violence? Oh, we do too. We believe in violence against you." Like, it was just very like aggressive, like, you know. And I remember at that time that was a phrase I used quite a bit. Was violence is the only language these people understand. So like when I heard her saying that after she did a car bomb, I'm like, oh God, I'm glad that I kind of moved away a little bit, a tinge bit away from, you know, that kind of
I mean,
mentality.
It's like the whole thing where people are, I mean, that's crossing the line. It's much like, you know, where things happen like at the Capitol on the other side of the situation where, you know, Trump's QAnon supporters went into the Capitol and actually killed people.
Yeah.
The thing I hate is when people try to compare that to graffiti.
Right. What?
Yeah. That's where it's like, well, they're breaking the law too. Yeah, they may have set a car on fire or spray painted a building, but they didn't kill anybody. So
yeah, it's just not property damage. I mean, you know, obviously the person who owns the property, that probably sucks, but like, it's not the same thing as killing people. You can always get your property back through insurance or whatever. Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, it's not going to be the same. I mean, it's like,
but you can't resurrect somebody from the dead. You know,
right?
It's like
not yet, at least. Well, not unless you're Jesus. It is Easter right now, but
yes, everybody's favorite zombie.
Whoa, or mutant now.
Yeah,
actually,
no.
Jesus would be probably the most powerful mutant in the entire MCU if you think about it. But because not only does he have superpowers, but his powers are God-given, which means that there's no way they can ever be taken away unless you killed the god that gave him those powers.
The best description of any of this is you just got to listen to End Times Fun by Mark Maron.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Jesus joins up with the Avengers.
Yes.
That's a good one. You know, so what are you trying to say? You trying to say you want to be an Avenger? Is that what you're saying? I don't know, maybe. That was a great bit.
Mm-hmm. So anyways, back to the show. She blew up the people.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't mean to laugh at that, but it's just
a car bomb too. So again, a very terroristic type of methodology as well. Like, she literally, because her I keep saying her guy friend or comrade or whatever. You know, he even said, like, aren't you gonna drive your car? And she's like, no. And then, you know, so that should have been like a indication of what's gonna happen. And then she tells him, like, put on your seatbelt right now. And then, you know, car explodes. And then and he's like, there were still people in there. And she's like, yeah, but that's the only language they understand. And they take off. So it's like, oh shit, she wouldn't kill people, which now sucks because it's like you said, there was only the bad guys in there, but it's like maybe not all of them were the bad guys. Maybe there was like janitors or custodians or other people, but now it's like, again, once you cross that line, you got a taste of it. Then it's like, well, I might be able to make some sacrifices of some innocent people here and there because it's for the greater good. I mean, yeah, it's sad that they die, but but life's not really that good for them anyway, right? So it's kind of like I'm putting them on their misery too, right? So, you know what I mean? And then it just kind of goes from there. So,
yeah, and eventually you become a villain.
Like the real Flag Smasher, the character, Carl Morgenthau, which was a character, not a team of people.
Yeah.
And for him, well, it was interesting because his story was kind of like very similar to what happened with King T'Challa. Instead, though, his dad was a diplomat, and he got killed by some.
Yeah, I mean, I think here they got this this woman dying in place of him, and
right,
that was basically like a mother figure to Carly. So, yeah,
right. So, I'm just really glad because, like, for years, like really for decades, even, I've been hoping for a Flag Smasher type of movie. I mean, I know it wouldn't happen because he's not really not that popular of a character, but just the concept of a, because we always hear about like villains like Red Skull or like people who like want world domination.
People who are, I mean, that's the thing I like about the MCU, and I mean, DC does it to a point, but you've got this whole thing where, I mean, villains don't see themselves as villains, as I've said before on this podcast. Some do, I mean, but a lot of times they think what they're doing is for the better good of people, and they might get greed and other things might eventually corrupt them beyond that, and then they become true villains. But a lot of times when they're starting out, I mean, probably even in reality, with some of the people that we see as history's greatest villains, probably started with good intentions, and then eventually became just despicable people because
right. I mean, like
power corrupts and everything. Like Lenin and even Hitler to a point. It's just. It's just kind of sad, like, I mean, or things happen in their early lives that basically messed them up and made them become the way they are. Because I don't think, I mean, I honestly don't think people are born villains, I think it's things in the world create them and make them villains.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like, that's the reason why, like, having, a mentally and emotionally healthy world is actually good for security as well. Because there's going to be like violence. I mean, there's always going to be some violence, but like, and again, it's like I hate that argument where it's like, oh well, people are always going to be bad. It's like, okay, but like if you can knock it down 90%, you're telling me you're not going to take that.
I mean, that's why not to get on a soapbox here, but you need to take care of mental health on people. Like you're saying, like you're not going to have people shooting up synagogues and churches and schools and stuff if it's taken care of before they get to that point. And, allowing mentally disturbed people have free access to weaponry isn't really good either, So,
right.
especially, automatic weapons and stuff.
Right, like the ones that shoot off. Yeah, I know. Like you brought up Hitler too. I mean, obviously Hitler's like probably one of the most notorious of being like just completely evil, and nothing he did is ever justified whatsoever. But like I've been reading up a lot about his life, over the past few years or whatever, and like there's a lot of people from his early life tell stories about him, like when he was like a kid, like 12 years old, his adolescent teen years. This guy clearly had like severe mental health issues. Like, I mean, like he believed, according to his childhood friend, he believed that there's this girl that lived like in the same neighborhood as him or whatever, and that he believed that she was his girlfriend because he thought that if he watched her from afar, that he could actually project his thoughts into her mind, and that she would be able to like understand that he like had a crush on her, and that like he did this for like 2 or 3 years before actually ever talking to her. So it's like, yeah, that's someone who's mentally not well at all. Like, and again, does not justify anything he did or said. No, two things can be true at the same time. So I don't want anyone to come in here, oh, you're defending Hitler, cancel. No.
No, but I mean, and the main thing is, it's like, if you catch things like that, he wouldn't have become Hitler.
Exactly.
I mean,
like,
he wouldn't have become he probably wouldn't have led him to mass genocide. It's...
He just would have been a mentally unwell person who probably needed constant care or therapy or whatever.
And unfortunately, I mean, back then, mental health was still in its infancy too, and we know a lot more now than we ever did, and we're probably going to know more 20 or 30 years from now than we do now. It's just, hopefully by the time the people listening to this grandkids are around, we'll have a more stable society.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying everybody should be doped up on medicine or anything, but therapy and other things too that'll help people. But anyways, that was a nice little tangent. So back to the show. Yeah. Back to the show. We've got after that situation, we join our three stooges here, Zemo, Barnes, and Wilson. Basically our Lethal Weapon guys and Joe Pesci, and they travel to Latvia in search of Carly Morgenthau, and as they're walking into a building that Zemo has set up for them, Bucky starts noticing some Wakandan tracking devices in the street, and then at the end he's realizing that he's being followed by Dora Milaje Ayo, who is like one of the bodyguards of the Black Panther, and she demands to see Zemo and basically return him to prison, because Zemo is responsible for killing King T'Chaka, so.
Right, and which is interesting, right? Because Civil War, that's what why am I blanking on his name? His character's name. I know the actor's name.
Who's the actor?
What's that?
Who's the actor?
Chadwick Boseman. What's
T'Challa.
Is that okay? He was gonna kill Zemo at the end of that movie, right?
Yeah.
But then, who stopped him or who convinced him to not kill him? It was I forgot who. One of the characters.
Yeah.
Convinced him not to kill Zemo, and so now that so it's like kind of come full circle again type of thing. You know what I mean? From Civil War, which is interesting because this show kind of almost feels somewhat like a reboot of Civil War. Like not a reboot, but like
it's like a sequel.
Like almost like Civil War didn't really resolve all the issues. And now they're all kind of pulling back again. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it may have looked like some of these things were resolved, but just like the American Civil War, things were never resolved.
Exactly.
Or like any Civil War in any country.
Exactly. Really. It's only been 8 years for them, and it's been 50, 60 years for us.
Yeah. And we're still dealing with people wanting to fly their rebel flags and shit. Anyways, and not
glory days. Yeah.
And not seeing how that's bad. And the thing I'm trying to get is, it's about my heritage. You live in Michigan, you fucking dumbass. Anyways, so
heritage plus your heritage shit, and you're living the wrong. That's like saying, like I believe in my Nazi heritage when you live like in freaking like the southern end of Russia, like nowhere near Germany. It's like, what are you talking about, dude?
There was literally a war about this, people. Anyways, so and you lost. So, did you want to take a break here, Matt, and then come back and we'll talk about some trivia and some, in some speculation.
Oh, and some Easter eggs, seeing that it's Easter.
Yes, indeed. We'll be right back, folks.
It's the ninja from the Ask the Angry Ninja Show saying, come listen to the show. We got the ninja wife to give you your movie reviews. We got the conscript to give you the ninja news. And we got the battle to talk about your sports. And as always, it is the Ask the Angry Ninja Show. So ask me a question, and we'll give you the ninja knowledge you need for your ninja life. Search for us anywhere you get your podcast from. Just search for the Ask the Angry Ninja Show and enjoy the show.
And we are back. Okay, so as far as like trivia goes on this episode, the Internet Movie Database only has a few things, but I got some Easter eggs from Screen Crush and stuff too that we can share. The bar in this episode, the Princess Bar, is from the X-Men universe, first appearing in Marvel Comics Presents Volume 1, Issue 1. It featured Wolverine and later Viper, Tiger, and several other X-Men characters. There's a character named Tiger.
Interesting.
Spelled Tyger, Tiger.
Ooh.
Yes.
Nice play on words there, I guess.
I've never heard of this character, but now I gotta look it up later.
Yeah.
Okay, anyways,
he was probably just like one issue character that doesn't exist.
When Sam says to Bucky, "You're not going to move your seat up, are you?" And Bucky replies, "No." It's a callback to Captain America: Civil War when the positions were reversed and Sam didn't move his seat up. So we have, this is from our friends over at Screen Crush. They've got one of their Easter eggs is Baron Zemo. In his first MCU appearance, he was referred to as Helmet Zemo and was treated as a terrorist. The origin story differs pretty significantly from the comics Zemo, who typically goes by Baron Zemo and is much more of a mad supervillain hell-bent on world domination. They try to reconcile the two here by having Zemo reveal that he's an extremely wealthy man and even has his own private plane with the family title of Baron. He also dons the purple hood and that he does in the comics, and you also see he's wearing a coat with a fur collar, which is similar to his costume in the comics as well. As we talked about, Trouble Man on Zemo's private plane, Zemo, Sam, and Bucky look at and discuss Steve Rogers' notebook. This is a reference to Sam's first meeting and with Steve at the start of Captain America: Winter Soldier, when Steve was keeping a list of all the pop culture he missed while he was frozen in the Arctic for decades. The film even provides a glimpse of Steve's to-do list, including Star Wars, Rocky, and the band Nirvana. On Sam's advice, he adds Marvin Gaye's soundtrack to the blaxploitation film Trouble Man. Fact directly mentioned in this scene. Yeah, anyways. So, yeah. Basically, I think we covered most everything. One thing here, Selby, Zemo's contact in Madripoor is named Selby, a name that has been used a few times in Marvel Comics. There's a Selby that is a member of the Mutant Liberation Front, a group that fought with the X-Men a few times, and Suzanne Selby, who appears in the issue of the Avengers and acquired the powers of a superhero named Starbrand. The name could also be a nod to D. Selby, a sound editor who worked on numerous Marvel movies, including Ant-Man and Captain Marvel. Yes. So, that's basically it that we've got here. Dr. Nagel is in the comics as well. He's the man responsible here for the Super Soldier Serum. And in the comics, he played a similar role in the creation of Super Soldiers. There, he's the man who recreates the original serum and then tests it on a group of African American soldiers during World War II. So, much like the character that Carl Lumbly played in the last episode.
Yeah. Was it Isaiah Bradley? Was it?
Yeah.
I wonder. I hope he shows up again later on in the season.
Me too. I like Carl Lumbly in anything. So, do you have any kind of speculation as to what you think is going to happen? And we're halfway through the season now. We got 3 more episodes. So,
got 3 more. Yeah, I think we're going to see more of the new Captain America. Because, by the way, I forgot to mention, too, it was only that one scene he was in the beginning. That was it. There was nothing, no mention of him. No, he was just not.
Yeah.
Him and Battlestar were not in the episode after that. So, like, I have a feeling that he's going to be pretty heavily, like, pretty much, like, the next episode's probably going to be, like, all about him. Probably. Like, his exploits, literally. Exploits. Just him kind of, like, losing it. Because, like, it seems like they already hinted at that in episode 2. Battlestar, or before that, it was just, Lamar. But, like, he said something like, you can't punch your way out of every situation now, or something like that. So it's like, that must mean, like, he's got, like, a, one of those just, like, short fuses, or like a violent tendencies, but now he's got the mask of Captain America that he can literally hide behind and sort of give him that kind of confidence.
There basically is that one line where he just basically says that, because he's basically saying to him, Lamar says, something to him about, you can't do things, like you were just saying, and then now he's like, they're not going to really care once it gets done how it got done.
Right.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, it doesn't how he did. So I have a feeling that at some point Lamar's going to break away from John, because he's already, like, trying to, like, keep him level, like, hey, we already did everything we did. We don't have any information, like, like, these people are given all the people free medicine and food, like that creates loyalty, stuff like that, like, so, like, he kind of reminds me almost like Torres a little bit, like, to Sam, like, a little bit, like, basically saying, like, people like the Flag Smashers, they believe, open borders, type of thing, like, so, like, Lamar's kind of taking on that role a little bit to John, but I don't know. I think it's going to be a hard break, because it seems like they've been lifelong friends, so it's not going to be a clean break. And I hope, I don't know, but I hope it doesn't turn out that, like, John's going to end up, like, accidentally or intentionally killing him.
Yeah.
Because of the break, you know what I mean? Like, I hope it doesn't turn out to be like, oh, another dead black character. You know what I mean? Like, I hope it's...
Yeah, I don't think they'll go that way, but hopefully they don't, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hard to say.
I hope he joins, like, the team, basically, at some point,
my speculation here is I think Sharon Carter's either working for the Power Broker or is the Power Broker. Even though they refer to the Power Broker as a man in language, but in other scenes, but if they've never seen the person, she could be the Power Broker. But I think she's working with the Power Broker.
Right, just be like a name.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I think there's something more going on with Sharon, and hopefully we'll find out soon. But yeah, other than that, that's all I really got in speculation in my head. I don't know. It's hard to say where this is going to go. I'm enjoying the ride so far, though. So
I think at the end, Mephisto's going to show up.
Oh, really?
It's going to be Mephisto the whole time. He's been manipulating worlds within worlds.
I thought we were going to find out at the end that it was all Kaiser Soze.
Well, he is Mephisto, so
it's kind of,
yeah. So. or
find out that it was, that Bruce Willis was dead the whole time.
Yeah. wait, don't spoil that movie. It's only been 20 years or something like that.
Oh boy, yeah. Anyways, hope you enjoyed this episode. We'd like to hear what your speculation is. Feel free to message us on. Go to All2ReelToo.com. There's links there of ways to get a hold of us on our Facebook page and other ways. Check out our Facebook group that we have now too. That's a fun way to talk to other listeners of the show, and me and Matt. And, or message me at mike@cullenpark.com if you don't want to do any of that crap. Be sure, though, to go and give us a review on Apple Podcasts, or anywhere that you can review the show. It'll help more people find the show and listen to us. Right now I'm going to have in the notes for this episode, for a limited time, you can actually get yourself a really cool Cullen Park t-shirt from Jupe Mode. They did this last year, and they're doing it again this year. It's only for a couple weeks, though. So, click the link on there, and you can buy yourself a nice little t-shirt for $20, and $10 of that sale goes directly into Cullen Park Productions to help with our podcasts and our films and music and things in the future.
Yeah.
Do all the other stuff that you do on podcasts, check out our Patreon, whatnot, make sure you do the whatnot.
Yeah, the whatnot's really important.
Yeah, it's a new dance. It's sweeping the nation.
Mm-hmm.
The whatnot. Anyway, so, anything else, Matt, before we go here?
No, I'm good.
All right. Well, until next time, wear a mask. Be kind, rewind, be safe. Get vaccinated if you can.
Mm-hmm.
Wear a condom.
Wear a condom.
Bye-bye.
Damn it.
Thanks for listening to All2ReelToo podcast, a Cullen Park production. Produced and edited by Michael E. Cullen II. Music by Matthew Hawes. Subscribe and share the show. Visit us at cullenpark.com.